Hey everyone, hello. It's Cheryl from Tinker's Card Art, and I'm going to pop on with you for a little while this afternoon to paint a little bit of this seascape. It's been a while. I miss you guys. It's been a while. I traveled from Florida up to Maine. It's been a couple of months. I haven't been on live too much, so I'm trying to get back into my groove here. And thank you guys for watching. It's just a quick little last minute Seascape. I'm painting some things for a little group shop that I'm in, and I'm here in Maine now on the coast, so I'm trying to do some Maine type paintings. My seascapes and lighthouses and puffins and all the Maine things. So, anyways, I'm going to paint this little scene, which I just did on a little chunky canvas. I'm going to paint it on this little box I found at the thrift store. So, no, at a yard sale. I think it was a yard sale, actually. Hey, say hello when you come on, you guys. I love to see you here. I'll turn the comments on. If you have any questions at all while I'm going, put them in the comments. And if I don't see it now while I'm painting, I'll certainly get back to you afterwards. Let me know what you're doing. It turned out to be a beautiful day. It was very foggy. It looked like rain this morning on the coast of Maine, but it is brightened up, so it's really nice. So this is just a little wooden box. It was in great shape. It has a little key and lock. I got it at a yard sale. I think it was $1. And I want to paint something on the top. I was going to go florals. I've been painting a lot of florals lately as well. A lot of plein air painting. You guys know I love to get outside. Hey, Patricia, thanks for popping in. Hello. Let me know who's watching and let me know where you're from. And I love it. So I'm going to paint this little seascape onto the top of this little box. It's pretty quick. I'm going to use just a couple brushes. I'm just going to use my ordinary acrylic paints. You guys have seen me paint before. You know kind of how I like to work, but if you're new, please let me know and take a look. I have a lot of social places. I'm here on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. All the places, Tinker's Card Art. So take a look. I teach painting in person and online. I simply taped the edges here with some painter's tape so that I didn't have to be super careful around the edge. I've put a few coats of white paint because I don't have any gesso. Gesso would have been a little bit better. It would have gone on a little heavier, but I used white paint. I used like 2 or 3 coats, just let it dry in between. I am using simply some of my Liquitex acrylics and then the craft acrylics, the deco art, some of the colors I like. I use a variety of paints. If I'm plein air painting or I'm doing more fine art painting, I will use a liquid golden paint, which I like a lot. But I like the Liquitex too, and the craft paints come in some cool, fun colors. So I'm going to use some of those. And I'm just going to sketch on a little line to begin. Most times I kind of just jump in and go ahead. I don't usually have to sketch in, but this I do want a line for horizon that's pretty even. I'm going to kind of eyeball it on this particular painting. I'm just going to do a little bit of sand showing. A very light little pencil line is all I need. I'm going to go a little bit of a horizon line, which keep in mind, you don't always want to cut your painting right in half at the middle. You want to go a little below or above when you're putting a horizon line in. And that's all I really need. This is really something I'm just going to jump in and paint. But because it's a seascape and a horizon line, you do want to make sure it's straight. So I'm going to start. I think I'll start with the sky and work down. I've already painted the sample. If you're just jumping on, just going to be a quick, simple. It's in tones of pastels, which I kind of like. And I'm just, like I said, I just finished that one, and I thought, let me jump on live because I've missed you guys, and paint this little box I want to do for my shop. And I'm just going to use the acrylics that I have out here from painting that previous one. So let me just jump in and get the sky started. Kind of a periwinkly sky, the little purple in there. I've built it up. A lot of my paintings lately, I love these little square shapes, which I get using just a flat brush. My water, I generally go back and forth, but I did mimic the little bit of sun in the sky into the water with some little tiny square strokes and then a little bit of sand. Pretty simple. Pick out colors you like. I like to sometimes start my painting and I'll just pick out a color palette I like, keeping it kind of limited so my colors aren't all over the place. And sometimes it's just colors I like. If I want to put teal in the sky or green or something, who says you can't? You can. Jump in and do whatever you like. So I'm going to just get started on here. I want to get a little base coat to my sky, and then I'll build it up with some lighter shades. And so I'm just going to get on kind of a middle blue, and I might get some areas that might be a little darker. I might just take white on my brush and get it a little lighter in some places. If I go from the left here to the right, I can sort of blend my colors as I go. The acrylic dries quick, usually. And I like to blend as I go so that I don't have to, if I started here and I start over here and meet in the middle, then I'm going to get a line. But if I start here and work my way over, I'll be able to sort of blend as I go, treating it a little bit like my oil paints. It's acrylic and it's handy because it dries quickly, but you have to kind of force it to behave a little like oil paints. And you can certainly use a medium, a slow drying medium as well. So I'm going to work my way across. I know I'm going to get lighter and a little pinker in the middle here because I'm just going to put where I'm going to put my little bit of the little bit of the hazy sun, I guess. So I've got a little bit of like a salmon pink in there a bit. I'm always using white just to sort of blend. And I'm going to go on top of here with my little square stroke so it doesn't have to be perfect. I know on this right side I tended to get a little bit into more of a purpley lavendery look. And what I'm doing is I'm mixing all these colors together on my palette here. That, again, helps me keep a cohesive look to my painting. So you can see I'm getting a little more purple over here. I know it might be a little glary because the paint's wet. But what I basically want to do is get this sky covered with paint that sort of softly blends. And then I'm going to go ahead on top and just get some of the little bit of, I don't know what to call it. I all of a sudden in Florida started painting my skies and things, and then I go over it with a little bit of a square brush to make kind of geometric marks. And that's enough right there. Look at how quick that was. You don't have to struggle over your paintings because sometimes that's when you lose it. You have to kind of go quickly, put some strokes down, leave it, step back, look at it from a distance, look at it later. Don't just fiddle with it too much. That, like I said, is sometimes where you might get in trouble. Now, I want that to dry a bit so that I can put my little square shapes on there. So I'm going to hop into the water, similar colors. So I've got the blues. I'm going to go right across the horizon line. I'm using just the same flat brush. It's acrylic synthetic brush. It is a Royal Langnickel, and they are so inexpensive, but I love these flats. I have them in a variety of sizes, and they're perfect if I need to paint a little doorway, a little window. They're perfect for that. And like I said, the price is really good. I get them at Michael's, and they're probably under $5. And if you keep them in good shape, and more of a do as I say, not as I do thing, because I sometimes am just painting so fast I don't clean them as well as I probably should. But if you keep them in good shape, they're going to last you a good while. I'm starting with some blue. I'm going to go into a little bit of teal here. And notice this time I'm taking my brush back and forth. I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I can kind of just go back. I use the flat edge of the brush if I need a wide swath of paint, and I can go back on the chisel edge too, back and forth. So I've gone into some dark blue off in the distance. I've got a little more blue-green, a little more teal. I'm going to get a little more, almost like a little bit of a limey green in the front here. That's a bit heavy, but if I just mix it with some white. And you can see I am just using the chisel edge of the brush here, and it almost looks like little highlights of waves that are off in the distance. I'm trying to do it more quick and loose and fun, because if you struggle and you have a little tiny brush and you're trying to get everything just like a photo, it's just no fun. I'd rather have fun with it. Since I've got my water there, I'm going to work into my sand, and I may as well work a little wet into wet here. I've got this ivory color that I like for sand, but I like using this dirty brush because it sort of gives a look of the color of the water coming up on the sand. I'm going back and forth with this too. And I'm mostly just blending where the two colors meet here, and then I'll work down. If you can mix those two colors while you're working wet and wet, it really gives you a nice blend. And now I'm going back and forth with a little white right on top. And I think I want a little bit of that salmony color in my sand. And this, I love this salmon color. It is a Deco Art color cactus flower. There's a couple of different ones, but I love that shade. And you can mix it easily. And I do show you, and especially in my students, in my groups, in my classes, I show you how to blend from just your primaries. But sometimes there's such cool colors, it's fun to grab them. So I've got a little bit of that salmon color with my ivory. And I just kind of put a little bit of that. And that's, look at how quick that is. What have we been painting for? Not even 10 minutes, okay? And that's a cute little seascape as it is. But I want to punch it up a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of the tealy green I have here. And I want a little bit of that into my sand. when you're at the beach and you look at the water, it's coming up on the sand. You sometimes just see that little bit of teal blue or light blue, and it's sort of reflecting the sky. I like to almost exaggerate it a little bit. And so I'm going to just take a little white now and almost a little white under that is like a little wave coming up above, and it's also like a little reflection. I'm going to do a little bit of that across now in my water. I'm taking just little bits of white or other shades, and I'm really chisel edge, and I'm just going to go across and get some little lines that are almost like waves breaking a little further out. Now I'm going to put this bigger brush aside. I'm going to go to my smaller brush, and we're going to just have some fun with the little square geometric shapes. Now this you could use as just as it is, right? Look, you could paint a little seascape in 10 minutes, seriously. So anyway, I like to go a little step further now with this little technique, and I don't even know what to call it. I just seem to like to use these little strokes. Hey, Cecile, thanks for watching all the way from Canada. I'm in Maine, so I'm sort of a little bit of a neighbor to the south here. And I'm glad you're here. I know you pop into my lives, and it's so nice to see everybody here. I'm going to take a little white now, a little smaller flat brush, and I'm just going to give myself some of these little square shapes. And I tend to go over what I have here, but with just a slightly lighter shade. So here it's almost a white. It's a very light blue. If I do a few of these here and there, it just gives a little, it's just a little fun accent. It just, I don't even know how, like I said, I don't even know how it started. Do I have some samples around here? I just seem to incorporate it into a lot of my paintings now. But like I said, you could have just left it plain. But you can, the more you paint, the more you experiment with things, you'll come up with your own little ways of painting that make your paintings yourself. Oh, hey, Gail. You don't have to tell me. I know it's you, Gail. Thanks for popping in. I know it's been quite a while since I've popped in live with you guys. Just trying to get back on a schedule again here. Summer, you know summer, right? And Gail, I hope maybe I'll see you tomorrow night. Gail's one of my Cardist members in my art membership, and we are getting together tomorrow night to paint. I'll show you what we're going to paint. We're doing Christmas in July tomorrow night, so we're going to paint. This is a board, and it's got, you know what? Let me just show it to you real quick because we have time today. So it's a little wooden board I use for sign painting usually, but I just went ahead and did it really quick, hardly even have to trace this on. You can just sketch it on, and it's just a Christmas stocking. But see how rough and ready I painted it, and then just added some snowflakes. That is what we're going to paint in the art group tomorrow night. If you are a painter and you want to learn some new techniques, or you want to just learn to paint from scratch, that's what I do here online. Kathy, thank you. I do too. What should we call it? I need a name for my little crazy technique here. So I'm just basically taking some of the colors that are already in the sky, maybe making them a little lighter. The little salmony pink color I had, I don't want to take it straight on like I did. I'm taking it, I'm going to add white to it and just get it a little lighter. And I can just go in here and there. And what I like to blend it so I don't, that one had a little dark and light in it. I like to blend the paint so it goes on just in one shade. And I would rather vary the colors as I go instead of, sometimes I like to get different color with brush strokes on there. But these I want really just one shade. And you can see they're just little, very faint. If I did them really strong colors, that's a technique I'm sure too. And that could be cool in some ways, but I like to have it just very light and build it up. I'm going to build that up into, it's more of like a yellow. So that is the sun. Real hazy at the beach today here. Could be kind of that hazy thing. Let that dry a minute. And how I do highlight some of my waves and things, I take just a little bit of white on the corner of the brush. So you can see it's just on the corner there. And then I just go a little heavier with it. And it just makes it look a little bit like the waves are coming up on the sand. I can just go along and make little waves anywhere I want. And this is not a big painting that you're looking at in detail. A little tiny drag of some white paint is your eye's going to read it as a little wave. So it's kind of cool. Gail, I know I didn't plan to go out in plein air today, although it was kind of foggy this morning, and rain was predicted, and it's turned out beautiful. But with the holiday weekend, actually my son is here. He flew up from Orlando yesterday as a last minute just to surprise some of his friends that are here. He grew up in this campground where we are. He's 33 now, and we came here when he was 2. So all his friends are still here that have grown up here as well, and some of them with kids of their own. And he wanted to surprise them this weekend, so he took a quick flight up. So I kind of am sticking close by just so that I can see him this weekend too. Alrighty, there. I'm going to put I want a little purple down there too. So I'm going back into that little purple, and I'm going to get a little purple in the water too. Sometimes reflect whatever I have in my sky. I kind of bring it down a little bit. I have some of the light green. I'm going to mix a little of that with the white. Maybe a little of that here and there. I kind of like it. I'm going to leave it. It's a little different. Now, here's the thing. When you see a painting of mine or a painting of another teacher, or you're in a class, and I know sometimes you just want it to look just like theirs, but I want you to paint along with me and have it look like yours. I don't want it to look just like mine. When I paint it the second time, as you're going to see, it's going to be much different. But that's what you want. Don't struggle trying to make it look exact. It's always nice just to make it your own. Lisa, hello. Happy Saturday to you too. Thank you guys for being here. I love it. It's like I'm painting with my friends. Sometimes I'm painting alone a lot of times, and I love to paint with my friends. Sometimes I go online with some of my friends, and we all just, wherever we are in the country or the world, we sit and we paint together. And that's what this feels like. When I get a little bit kind of lonely, I can jump on, and here you guys are. It's wonderful. Oh, now I'm going to my smaller brush again. I'm going to do some more little squares in the sky. Let's get it to look a little bit like the sun is there. We want a little bit of yellow. But all of my colors, which are kind of strong on my palette here, I'm mixing with white just to tone them down a little bit. I'm going to go with just these little squares. This is just kind of a real pale yellow. I'm going to get a little darker as well. So I'm going to add a little more yellow to that little pile of paint if I can find where I even mixed it, because my palette is really kind of a mess. Going a little heavier yellow in places, just vaguely in the shape of a circle, but I'm not worrying about it. It's just kind of a little area, and I know it might be hard for the camera to pick that up. And I'm just going to do some little bits of like that, maybe a little more white, just to vary the shades a little bit. I'm going to go in with some more blue. I'm going to kind of copy some of the blue, the periwinkles, the purpley colors I have in my sky, and I'm going to put a few more in there as well. So let me just get that blue and really lighten it up. I'm running out of room on my palette, but I could just use the paper here. It just kind of carries my little design. It's kind of really design work out a little bit. And depending where you put it. So I'm mixing up a really light blue. And over here, it's really showing up. Well, that's real light. But it's going to show up different over here because it's a dark blue. So here I need to add a little more white just to get that to show up. So I'm eyeballing where I'm putting them. What is the shade underneath? And what would be just a little lighter color? I was almost going to I did some Christmas ornaments lately with the really pink geometric sky with the owl's head, which is a lighthouse up here in Maine, on there. And I almost put that on here. I love that pink sky sometimes too. If you just pop in and say hello, let me know where you're watching from. I love to kind of see where the audience is. Sometimes they're close by and sometimes they're further away. I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of the stronger white here and there. This box is it's a little smaller. It's more of a rectangle than the long rectangle of the original one I did, but I could go to some smaller squares as well. Okay, so on the water, like I said, I mostly go back and forth with my flat brush, but I like the idea of these little squares indicating the sun, but I need to have a little reflection on the water here, and I'm just going to use a little bit smaller square there. So that's our little smaller square. And I'm just going to go and just kind of mimic what I have in the sky there. I did some yellow. I'm going with a little bit of a light yellow now. And I want to do a little bit, not everywhere, maybe a few places in the water with whatever color I have there. So maybe start with this teal. And again, sometimes I don't know if it's going to work till I put the paint on the piece. So it's not like, oh, I know what color to put down exactly. If it doesn't show up, I go a little lighter or darker. You can adjust. The great thing about acrylic paint is you can do whatever you feel like, because you can fix anything. You can paint over anything. If you go into it not fearful and ready to just jump in and try new things and experiment and not worry about, oh, what's going to happen? I don't want to waste this canvas or this paper or this piece. You can paint over it. You can paint over it. Oh, Pamela. Well, thanks. Welcome. I am here online teaching. I have some, you can buy one-off classes on my website, but I also have an art membership where I paint with you live and by recorded instructional videos every month. So if you're interested in any of that, you can find me on the socials, Tinker's Card Art, but you can also send me a message. And Barbie, hi, from Nebraska, thank you. And Kathy in Mystic, Connecticut, which it's beautiful down there. I love Connecticut. I'm from Massachusetts, living in Florida in the winter, now in Maine in the summer at my camp here. This is where you are. You're on the porch of my camper here. And thank you guys for watching. All right, so I was doing a few little squares in the water just to carry that kind of idea down. And I just reevaluate as I'm looking at it. If I look at this and I'm like, okay, my water is nice and blue back here. And in the camera, I love it, but I want to get a little bit maybe of that dark blue closer to the front. I have to tell you, a way that I really see what my painting needs or fix anything that I think might be wrong is when I see it on camera. So I'm right here looking at it and I don't see certain things, but when I see it on the camera, it really brings it to light. If something's wonky, if something's off. And that same thing can happen if you hold your piece up in a mirror or take a photo of it. So sometimes if you're not sure, just step back from it a little bit. Sometimes I just set it in the corner of my kitchen or something and look at it as I go by here and there. And as a couple of days go by, it's like I know exactly what I want to do to it. But if you go ahead and put it, like take a photo of it, or like I say, hold it up in the mirror, for some reason your eye is not looking at it in the same way. And like I said, same when I'm doing it here, painting with you. I see what little things I think I need or want to do just by, I don't know, just seeing it on the video. So if you see me looking over a lot, that's what I am doing. So I just wanted a little more of the blue down there, a little bit of that blue, just almost maybe a wash down here that is like that little tiny bit of water that's coming up on the shore. And as the paint dries, it sort of tends to like recede sometimes. I let it dry, I look at it, and many times I might have to go back and just brighten it up. So we can't see some of this yellow in the reflection in the water. So I'm going to go back and just maybe do almost like a little second coat here and there because I can see the water through it. So I want it to really stand out a bit. A little more white for just a lighter shade. And I'm just doing a few little second coats just to make it a little bit more opaque. That's almost all we need to do. So what do you guys think? I'm going to put sparkles on here, but I want you to think that painting is not hard, even if you can't draw a straight line or you've never painted before. If you have a little inclination or have the desire or the passion to do it, you can learn it. Like lots of things. Like I'm not a good cook at all. And can I make something? Yes, if I watch a YouTube video or read a recipe and step by step someone explains it. You don't just wake up one day and know exactly how to make a lasagna. You don't wake up one day and just know exactly how to paint. Yes, some people just have that knack, whether it's cooking or, I don't know, building a car, painting. Some people are born with that knack, but you can learn it as well if you have the desire. And I do show people very baby step-by-step ways to do that. And you guys that are here that are in my group, you can attest to that, that you can. If you want to bring something joyful into your life, painting, creating, having a finished something that you've made to be proud of, you wouldn't believe it's just great for your well-being even. So the only thing I'm going to do now is add some little sparkles. And I love when I'm doing water now, see the little dots of paint? You can do it with the tip of your detail brush. I have some little styluses that I use sometimes. It's just like little dotting tools, little styluses. And I just take white paint, and if it's been sitting a little while, it's even better because it's been sitting out, it's a little thicker. And I just do some random little white dots. Now, if this was on a really dark blue-green water, which I do sometimes, they really sparkle. But this is more in the pastel tones. It's a little subtler. It just has a little different look, but you're still going to see those little sparkles. But try it on some of your paintings or your seascapes with some dark blue water, and really works well. Now, I'm not going back by the horizon line at all. You would never see little sparkles back there. But on those sunny days and you're looking at the ocean or the water, you can just see those little sparkles bouncing around. So that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing them closer to me because, again, back there, you're not going to see big detailed waves breaking. You might see a little streak of a lighter shade, but up close is where I really really add the little details, something like that. So I would probably put a little varnish on this when it's done just to protect it and give it a little shine. But I think that's all we need to do. Donna, thank you for watching. So you're sunny in Minnesota too. Great, because I am so happy it turned out nice here. And thank you, Gail. We do. I have to say, not just the instruction that you get, but I think the best part of the group, and in my group, I have 2 groups, is the community of other artists. We get together live. We have a private group where you can post your paintings and chat with others and ask for help with things. My groups are small. They're more intimate. They're not huge memberships. They're smaller. You get individual attention. I'm around to answer questions, even if you're painting something later on. Like today, if you have a question or you're watching this later on from the recording, send me a message, post a comment. I'm there to help you. And I will sign this too. So you would want to always sign it. And I didn't know how this would work with the tape, but it worked pretty well. Maybe some little bits, but if you need to remove paint, that might scrape off, but rubbing alcohol is perfect to remove paint from places where it should not be. So my memberships, I'm so not like the salesman here, but I do have one membership that is, we meet or have a recorded lesson 3 times a month. And then there's another membership, the a la carte membership, where it's just one recorded painting you get emailed to you. And maybe I'll go into the comments here and put a link if you want any information about that at all. When you join, you get access to all of the paintings we've done. And that's like from the last 3 years in the Cartist group. I just counted the other day. I think there's like 141 paintings in there, which doesn't mean you need to paint 141 paintings. Why I do so many variety of paintings and amount of paintings is so that you have things to choose from. If you want to paint animals, you pick animals. You want to paint landscapes, still lifes, whimsical things. You're not there trying to keep up and like binge them like Netflix. You want to just pick and choose. But I want to have a nice variety for you. Barb, I will put a link. Thank you guys. I like to put it out there, and I'm not always good about pushing it and telling everyone about it. So I really want to mention it, and I should be better about it. But I'll put a link, you guys. But message me any questions. You know where I am. I'd love it if you followed me, and that would be great. And okay, we've been painting for not even 30 minutes. So if you say, I don't have time, 10, 20 minutes a day, even if it's just a sketch or a drawing, adds so much to your life. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next time. I'm going to try to get on a little more. I'll be on Monday morning at 9:15 live as well, doing I don't know what yet. But anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, Lisa. I will talk to you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.